On this edition of Lakeville City Limits, we find out what makes champagne so unique and learn about other sparkling wines from around the world. Next, I talk with Lori Reeb from 360 Communities about the organization and what resources they provide in our community. And finally, we'll take a look at why it's not a good idea to build that snow fort at the end of your driveway. Hello, I'm City Administrator Steve Melke. Welcome to City Limits, Lakeville's public information program. To start today's show, we head over to Lakeville Liquor's Galaxy location to find out about the sparkling wines and what makes them so unique.
Hi, I'm Jody Nordstrom here with Cellar Notes. Joining me today is Gary Crabtree with Moet Hennessy USA. Gary, can you tell us a little bit about what you do with the company?
Sure. First of all, thanks, Jody, for having me. I am currently the market manager for Moet Hennessy USA for the state of Minnesota and North and South Dakota. I call on a distributor network that distributes a luxury portfolio of wines, spirits, and champagnes to our distributor partners and retail partners in the upper Midwest.
Can you give us a brief history of Moet and Chandon and how it is you began?
I'll do as brief as I can. It's a kind of a long and storied history. The company started in 1743 by Claude Moet. Claude was kind of a forward-thinking entrepreneur who kind of saw the value of luxury champagne. So what he did, he had connections in the Palace of Versailles, along with other places across Europe of very notable kings and people. And what he did then is he began the company that his son got involved with probably toward the end of the 1700s, Claude Louis. His grandson, Jean Remy, who was probably the most famous of the Moets, took over the business in the early 1800s, and he was probably most famous for his friendship with Napoleon. Along the way, they also purchased the Abbey of Oberlay, which was the home of Dom Perignon, and together launched the business into the middle of the 1800s. His son Victor, along with a man by the name of Pierre Gabriel Chandon, created the Moet and Chandon Company. In 1842, they made the first vintage champagne. In 1860, they made a commemorative bottle of champagne in honor of the Emperor Napoleon, and that is the Brut Imperial that we enjoy today. From that point on, the company kind of went into kind of a period of disrepair due to the phylloxera epidemic of the 19th century and the world wars that decimated Europe in the early 20th century. Until about in the 20s, when a man by the name of Count Robert Louis Duvogue picked up the company and brought it into the modern age into the 60s by picking up acquisitions outside of the wine business like Dior, and finally in 1960 he brought in the company called Hennessy and formed our company Moet Hennessy in the early 70s. So that's about as brief as I can put it.
Perfect. You know, France has specific growing conditions, the specific regions that champagne comes from that makes it a true champagne. What can you tell us about the region that makes the wine so unique?
Champagne is very unique. It's a 45-minute train ride into the northeast of Paris, but it literally sits on what they call the Paris Basin, which is a kind of a long ago inland sea of 10,000 years ago that left this particular region on top of thick layers of chalk. So besides that, you know, just the oceanic and environmental conditions of the land, it's a very cool climate, very favorable to the grapes that go into making champagne, the acidity level. Also, the region, the slopes and the plains of the region are very conducive to the atmospheric optimism to grow champagne grapes. Just the secular knowledge of the generations of people that are there and have sustained their companies over hundreds of years are very favorable. But this chalk is probably the most unique in that it gives off a variety of benefits to the grape. It holds water, which is very favorable to the vines. It also drains freely, which pushes the roots of the wine stock further down, making them stronger. It also contains minerals that are very, very beneficial to the growth. And lastly, it provides these deep caverns that have been excavated all the way back to the Roman days, where most of the Champagne growers store their wines right now. Moet, in particular, has over 100 miles of underground cellars that they store their wines and champagnes in.
And then not everyone realizes that to be a true Champagne, it has to come from Champagne, France.
Right.
What can you just briefly tell us about the methods on how you make your Imperial?
There's really three different, there's really four, but the three main ways of making sparkling wines or champagne is first of all, just basic CO2, which is somewhat similar to what the soda industry or the beverage soda industry does today. The second is what they call the Charmat bulk process, where the wine is literally primarily fermented in a vat, and then it's pressure filled into the bottle. That type of process is very indicative to Proseccos and Astis. Okay. The third method, which all champagnes uses, and some higher class sparkling wines, is what they call method champenois or method traditionnel, where after primary fermentation, the assemblage is transferred into a second bottle, and there it undergoes a second fermentation over a period of time, and then it's disgorged, recorked, and aged.
We've recently seen a spike in sparkling wine champagne sales. You know, people are enjoying them more on an everyday basis than just for special occasions. Can you tell us a little bit about the Chandon Brut and the Imperial?
The Moet Imperial is a assemblage of over 100 different still wines. Moet has a vast, extensive holdings in Champagne of around 2,500 acres, and employ the service products of probably 250 growers. So we're able to get a nice pick of the wine litter, if you so. But anyway, this is a blend of about 30 to 40% Pinot Noir, 30 to 40% of Pinot Meunier, which provide the structure and the balance of the Champagne, plus about 20 to 30% Chardonnay, which is the acidity and the biscuit flavor of the Champagne. Along with that, about 1 to 3 year old reserve wines to kind of keep up the constancy and the fruitiness of the product. The Chandon portfolio, if I could just go into where Chandon, this was the first facility brought in by Moet in 1973 after the company Moet Hennessy was formed, and we brought our Chandon sparkling wine facility to Napa Valley and created a assemblage of pretty much the same 3 grapes. So the Chandon Brut is in the Brut style, which is the Brut style of Moet Imperial, which means that the sugar level is less than 12 grams per liter. And we have I believe that is the Riche, which is more of a sweeter style. And then we have the Chandon Rosé, which is a Pinot Noir forward with just a little bit of Pinot Noir reserve wines added.
Other than the United States and France, does Chandon have vineyards anywhere?
We do. We extensively. You know, first of all, we own Dom Perignon, Krug, which is our high tête de cuvée, high-end champagne, Renard, Moet, and Veuve Clicquot. Those are our champagne properties. We also have a property in Argentina with Terrasses, which was our first venture outside of France in 1959, where we produce a variety of still wines, Malbec being the flagship. We also have a facility in Western Australia, Cape Mentelle. We have a facility in New Zealand, probably the definitive Sauvignon Blanc of the world, Cloudy Bay. We have a facility in Spain with Numancia, which is a beautiful representative of the Toro region, and the Tempranillo grape.
If someone wanted to tour the wineries, is there a certain time of year that is best to go, and are they able to do that?
Well, we certainly encourage our buying public to come and see us. Shandong in particular, if anybody would desire to go to our Shandong facility in Napa Valley, it's an experience, and there are public tours available, and you just simply can come in and sign up at the front desk and join a group and get firsthand experience with a trained guide to take you through all the steps of sparkling wine production, and then joined afterwards with a tasting. The same thing with Moet. Moet has the same facility in Epernay where you can come. I would encourage you to get a hold of the winery probably 3 weeks ahead. That site is on the website. And there again, you can meet in the lobby and join a group and have a tour of the cellars, followed by a tasting and a visitation to our gift shop.
Thank you, Gary, for joining us today, and thank you for watching this edition of Cellar Notes.
Thank you.
So, you're out for an evening of ice fishing all by yourself. You don't have a care in the world. Well, you were thinking about catching the big one. You didn't notice the hole in the ice and you fell into the frigid water. Now your clothes are wet, heavy, and you can't seem to climb out. Soon hypothermia, the lowering of your inner core temperature, will begin, and you can't see anybody to help. What are you gonna do? This message provided by your local public safety and fire departments.
Joining me today is Lori Reeb, Director of Development at 360 Communities. Lori, thanks for joining me on City Limits.
I'm happy to be here, Steve.
Lori, tell me a little bit about 360 Communities. What is the organization? What do you do?
Well, Steve, 360 Communities is a local nonprofit. We've been around for over 40 years, and we serve families mostly in Dakota County. We have 3 areas that we focus on. One is violence prevention, one is school success, and the other, we have a network of food shelves. And we have a network of 5 food shelves, including one here in Lakeville, one in Apple Valley, one in Rosemount, one in Burnsville, and one in Farmington. And that network of food shelves, we always say it's food, but it's not really about the food. Food is what brings people in the door. But we sit down with those people and ask them what's going on in their lives. Why are you here for food? What other needs may you have? Are you safe in your home? Are your children going to school? And ask all those sorts of questions. And usually people come for food, it's because there's a crisis going on. Someone has lost their job, or they have medical bills, or their car has broken down, something that's going on in their life, and they come to us for food, but we try to help them, connect them with these other resources that are available in the community to help them get back on their feet and get back to that place of self-sufficiency and being in a good place again. So those are our network of food shelves and family resource centers. And then our violence prevention area of work, we have the 2 Lewis House shelters, and one in Hastings and one in Egan. And those shelters serve, last year in 2013, we served 2,900 women and children through those shelters. Now, they don't all stay with us. About 600 a year actually stay at the shelters, but we serve the others with counseling, help getting through the court system, orders for protection, safety planning, all those sorts of outreach things that help the women and children who are suffering from domestic violence. And then we have coming up in February 7th is our 29th annual Domestic Abuse Awareness Luncheon, and it will be at Brackett's Crossing Country Club here in Lakeville. And every year we have about 300 folks who come and hear us guest speaker. And the people that attendees are from law enforcement, from the court system, donors, advocates, people who are interested in the area of violence prevention. This year our speaker is Peter Herman, and he is an actor and an author, and he is married to Mariska Hargitay from Law and Order. And the two of them have started a foundation called the Joyful Heart Foundation, and it is a foundation that is working on preventing violence and ending violence.
The prevention luncheon that you're going to have, I know that's a partnership between 360 Communities and the Lakeville PD, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And
It is.
You invite a number of different organizations, but all of the people that are invited are in one way or another connected with the criminal justice system or the violence prevention systems that are out there?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. And this year, we always we honor someone with a community caring award at our luncheon, and this year we are honoring the former Lakeville Police Chief Tom Von Hoff. So we're very excited about that. He has he and the Lakeville Police Department have had a long partnership with us in working toward preventing domestic violence.
I know the many luncheons I've been to, Tom has always done a great job of taking the issue and bringing it down to a very personal level.
Yes.
I think our police officers, our fire safety folks see violence at its most basic level and have a acute understanding of what to many of us is an invisible problem.
Yes, and it's a very dangerous situation for law enforcement when they get a call for a domestic. It's a dangerous situation, and so we want to help them, in any way that we can, help the victim, and try to end this. There was an article in the Star Tribune this weekend that in 2013 there were 37 deaths in Minnesota related to domestic violence. Not only women, but some children and even some males as well.
It's a tragedy, and it's a preventable tragedy.
It is. It is.
So we've talked about self-sustaining programs. We've talked about violence prevention. You're also in school success as well.
Yes. So our third area is our school success program, and it starts with a program called Dakota Healthy Families, and that program, the hospitals and the county identify at-risk mothers who are going to have babies, and then those babies are identified that could be at risk for neglect or child abuse or just struggling in poverty, and those families are referred to us, and it's a voluntary program. If they decide to sign up with us for the program, we have in-home visitors who work with those moms, with those young parents, with those struggling parents, and actually teach them how to parent their child. Some of those folks have not had good role models. They don't know that they're supposed to read to their child or play with their child, or they just don't know some of the basic things that we all think, well, everybody knows that, but they don't. And so our home visitor works with that family, and from that child age 0 till they're ready for kindergarten, so that when they are ready for kindergarten when they reach that age. And so that's been a wonderful and a successful program for those families. So that's Dakota Healthy Families, and then once those children are in school, then we have this program called Partners for Success. And we have staff in 31 schools in 7 different school districts in Dakota County, and our staff members are in the schools. They get children referred to them for various reasons. If they're struggling academically, if they are missing a lot of school, they don't have a lunch, they don't have a coat, there's something going on at home. And so that our staff person works with that child and then builds a connection with the child's family and works with the family and helps them, again, connects them to resources, whether it's food, whether it's Lewis House, whatever resources in the county. Our staff stabilizes housing for a lot of families because they end up moving a lot, and then that's when the child suffers in school as well. So just works with that family, gets those parents engaged with the teacher, engaged with the school, and then the children end up being a lot more successful in school and graduate from high school.
That stability at the home is kind of what all of your programs are intended to help.
Yes.
obviously, what you're talking about requires resources, financial resources. Can you talk a little bit about the methods in which 360 Communities helps provide these programs?
Yes. So last year in 2013, we served 14,500 individuals through our programs. And we get our support, 49% comes from contributions, so contributions from the community, from businesses, from individuals, from clubs, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. Churches are also good partners of ours, the faith community. And then we also get some from private foundations, family foundations. So that's just under half of our revenue. We get a little bit from United Way. We get some funding from United Way. And then we get some from a large portion, probably 40% from government grants. And those, our largest one is from the Office of Justice Program for Victims, and that money helps us run the Lewis House. So, so that's kind of our funding base. So we really do rely on the community to help support the work that we do.
Laura, it's valuable service, and as I said, I don't know that a lot of people think Lakeville has these kinds of issues and these kinds of problems that families are facing. If people wanted to learn more about 360 Communities, how might they do that?
You know, Steve, you talk about Lakeville, and we all think Lakeville is an affluent community, and it is, but there is poverty in Lakeville. There are families who are struggling in Lakeville. We have staff in 5 schools in Lakeville, and they have families that they are helping every day. And like I said, we have a food shelf here as well, and families every day are being served at that food shelf, families in Lakeville. So it does exist here. So if people want to get involved, they can go to our website at 360communities.org. They can call our main number, which is 952-985-5300. And we have over 1,100 volunteers. So not only financial support, but volunteers help us keep it all going. And so any way that someone would want to get involved, we would love it.
As a member of the Rotary Club, I've had the chance to go help paint it at one of the Lewis houses, and it gives you a warm feeling when you get to volunteer and help others that are in need of that help, including 360 Communities. Lori, thank you for your work in Lakeville and for your work at 360 Communities.
You're very welcome, and thanks for having me today.
Did you know that Lakeville Yellow Ribbon Organization is sponsoring a free Valentine's Day night for veterans? Military members and a guest are invited to enjoy a special Valentine date night on Saturday, February 15th at the Heritage Center. Enjoy an evening out with dinner, dance music, and a souvenir photo of each couple. This event is free to each veteran and their guest, but registration is required. For more information and to register, visit www.lakevilleveterans.com.
Hi, I'm Elwood McFarland, and I have blue thumbs. If you want to create beautiful gardens to help keep our water clean, join us for a free Blue Thumb presentation. You can see dozens of inspirational and affordable garden designs that integrate native plants and clean our water. You might even qualify for a $250 grant for your new garden. Start thinking spring and join us at the Blue Thumb Workshop. Blue Thumbs up!
We'd like to remind residents about winter parking restrictions. There is no on-street parking allowed between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. from November 1st until April 1st. This ordinance was enacted to facilitate snow removal and to enhance public safety. Violators are subject to citations, towing, and impoundment of vehicles.
It snowed last night, which is really cool because I love to build stuff. And Mom said it would be perfect today. Sticky, but not slushy, you know what I'm saying? So I called Donnie. He's my best friend in the whole world. I know that's weird. A girl having a best friend that's a boy? Well, it's not like I planned it that way or anything. It's just because Donnie lives next door. and I don't even remember when Donnie wasn't my best friend. So anyway, I called Donnie and said we should go out and play in the snow. The first thing we did was dig a secret fort by the street where there's always a great big old pile of snow.
It was gonna be our castle with 100 rooms.
While we were in the fort, we couldn't hear anything that was going on outside, so we didn't even notice when a snowplow came up our block. We were totally surprised when we heard someone yelling, "Hey, is anybody in there?" But as soon as we heard her, we said, "Hey, it's Wendy."
The snowplow driver.
We know Wendy because her kids go to our school.
We like Wendy. Whenever we see her plowing, she always waves to us. She's nice.
But this time she said she was worried about us. She said it was really dangerous to make a snow fort at the edge of the street. Like, what if she just came through with that big old plow? Wendy said we can't count on a plow driver seeing where our fort is, because from the truck, it usually looks the same whether there's a fort there or not. She said we could have been hurt real bad.
It was just because we left our stuff outside the fort that she figured we were in there at all.
Wendy helped us clear out the fort, and then she told us some stuff about safety. First, she said we should never build forts close to the street, and not just because of snowplows. What if a car would skid on the ice and run into your fort when you were inside? So Wendy said we should always build forts way back from the street, where you don't have to worry about plows or cars. Next, she said we should never put a roof on a fort because a roof can fall on you, and because without a roof, we could hear what's going on outside the fort, like we'd be able to hear our parents when they call us.
We knew there had to be a catch somewhere.
Wendy said she was sorry, but she would have to knock down our fort at the edge of the street, so no other kids would be able to play in it. Dang!
That thing was awesome.
When we saw how the plow went through that fort, well, it was a good thing we weren't in there.
We knew it wasn't because Wendy was mean or anything. Heck, she was the one who saved our lives. And anyway, our next fort was gonna be way better than that one.
After the fort was gone, Wendy parked our truck and told us some other safety stuff about snow. She said we should know that all snowplows don't look the same. There's a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes and colors, so you have to watch out for all the different kinds.
Then, she told us it's important to think about how big snowplows are. She said her truck is bigger than an elephant, and it weighs as much as 6 elephants.
It's because they're so heavy that they take a long time to stop.
The snowplows, not the elephants. The trucks are so big that you can't expect them to stop for you. You just have to stay out of their way.
Then Wendy told us we should know about the parts of a snowplow too, so we know what to watch out for. The coolest part is the flashing lights on top. But she said some little plow trucks don't always have lights. Well, too bad for them.
The most dangerous parts are the big blades that move the snow. You gotta watch out for the huge one in front and the one on the side. It's called a wing, but don't worry, because they can't fly.
Oh, funny. Wendy said the big plows like hers carry a whole bunch of sand, and they have that little wheel thing in back that spreads sand on the road. The sand is to help cars stay on the road when it gets icy and slippery.
Yeah, like, get a grip. Wendy said one reason why we have to watch out for snowplows is that the drivers are real busy driving and working the controls of the plow, and sometimes talking on the radio. And they have to watch out for people in cars, too. The drivers have so much to do that you can't be sure they're going to see you, so kids have to stay way away from snowplow trucks.
And there's a whole bunch more reasons why kids have to be responsible and watch out for plows. Like, lots of times the driver will be looking down to make sure she doesn't hit a mailbox or something. And other times the plow might throw out some big old rusty thing that could hurt you. And plows have to turn and back up, and the driver can't always see what's behind the truck or right next to the truck. So you need to stay away from snowplows and just let them do their work.
Wendy said the right thing to do is, when you see a plow, move away from it, but not into the street, and wave so the driver knows you see the plow and knows you're being careful.
And she told us 3 other things about safety. First, when you're waiting for the school bus, don't sit or stand on a pile of snow because you could slip off and fall into the street.
Second, don't throw snowballs at plows or buses or cars or anything like that. We used to do that, but now we don't because Wendy said it could make the drivers not see where they're going and get in an accident.
And third, don't go sliding alone because you need someone who could go for help if you get in trouble. And don't slide toward the street, even if you don't see any cars coming. Wendy had to go and finish her plowing, but she said it was important for us to remember what she said. So I said, we will remember what you said. We'll always build our forts away from the street.
And when we see a snowplow, we'll wave so the driver knows we see it. And then we'll stay way back.
And we won't do anything dumb, like waiting for a bus on a snowbank or sliding alone. Wendy said, yeah, you got it. Now be sure to tell all your friends. As soon as she drove away, I knew it must be time for lunch because I was so hungry. And anyway, I couldn't wait to tell my mom all about snowplows.
Now it's time for the answer to today's trivia question, which is, how many fire hydrants are located in the city? If you guessed D, 4,076, you would be correct. During the winter, many fire hydrants get buried in snow. The fire department is asking you to adopt a hydrant near your home and keep the snow cleared away. This will save valuable time and energy for firefighters if there's an emergency in your neighborhood. Here is a look at some of the upcoming public meetings that you can attend at City Hall. The Finance Committee will be meeting on Thursday, February 13th at 7 p.m. The City Council will be meeting on Tuesday, February 18th at 7 p.m. Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resources Committee will be meeting on Wednesday, February 19th at 6 p.m. And the Planning Commission will hold its meeting on Thursday, February 20th at 6 p.m. For more information on government meetings and the role of our boards and commissions, visit the city website at www.lakevillemn.gov. That's it for this edition of Lakeville City Limits. Thanks for watching. If you experience a problem with your cable TV service here in Lakeville, you should first contact Charter Communications at 1-800-581-0081. If you do not receive a satisfactory response, you can call the city at 985-4407 and we will assist you in resolving your problem. And just a reminder, you can see all of our programming online on the city's website at www.lakevillemn.gov. Thanks again for watching this program and all of the programming here on LG TV.